ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್
ಹೀಗೆ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇವಾಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಓಕೆ
ಇಲ್ಲ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ
ಶೇರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಮತ್ತೆ
ಅಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ನೀವು ಒಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಟೋ ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಮೇಲೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು
ಓಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ
ಫೋಟೋ ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ
ಡಬಲ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ
I will go back to share screen.
Yes sir. So in the meanwhile shall we start admitting people who are waiting?
No, we'll just try once more.
Just
ಬಂತು ಇವಾಗ
ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ
correct.
ಬಂತು first class.
Okay.
First class.
So I'll just stop it now and then when we'll share again the same way.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay. Admitting, right?
Admit all?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can make this grid, no, Rashmi?
Yeah, we can make. Once you start sharing the screen, it becomes big, sir.
No, grid.
Grid now
screen ಮೇಲೆ ಬರೀ ನನ್ನ ಮುಖ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯೂ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, right hand side ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Right hand side ಅಲ್ಲಿ view.
Next to the time stamp.
Good evening, Subodh. Good evening, Usha.
Hi, Sanjay.
Hi.
Hi, Gitanjali.
Hi.
Good evening, Usha. Can't see you.
You can't?
We can only see your hair.
Just put it on.
That's enough. Hi, Gitanjali.
Hi.
Could
Hello,
we?
Chaya. Hello, good evening. Tanisha is getting connected. Hello, Geeta ji. Good evening.
Could we ask 7022 to identify yourself?
We can't see your face, Usha.
Yeah, only the hair is visible.
That's the idea behind.
So, but at least those who can afford show it because I can't do it.
7022A4B2. Please identify yourself, sir. Madam.
Hello, Sarish.
Good evening, Shiv Shankar sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Sanjay.
ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Geetanjali. Don't tell me I have become a rare species.
Yes, you are. For us. But good to see you here.
It's so difficult to manage time. So this one program I don't want to miss. So
glad, sir. Thank you so much.
So anyway, we are live now. Anyway, Sanjay.
Oh yeah, great.
Shankar, namaskara. Dr. Pradeep Rao, Rotary Club of Bangalore.
Namaskara, Pradeep avare.
Gitanjali, can we know who all have logged in on YouTube?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
You can see it anyway. If you log in, it is live now.
Okay.
7022. Can you please
identify yourself? 7022A4B2.
What is that? There is a candidate.
Good evening, Kalpa. Good afternoon. Sorry. How are you, Kalpa?
Hi, Sanjay. I'm fine, thank you.
You're doing all right? Recovered fully?
No, not yet. Not completely. I think it's after effects.
Yeah,
A little bit of weakness thing. Otherwise, I'm fine.
it takes some time. I know. Dr. Pradeep Kalpa is our director from Nairobi, Rotary Club of Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh, fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Good to
So,
see you. Good to see you. Yeah, okay.
Uh,
That is, no,
Kalpa,
Nairobi is a mecca for wildlife photographers. That's why actually.
yeah, I've been telling Sanjay the same thing and everybody on the group also.
we will
Correct,
visit
correct,
Kalpa
correct. I,
next year.
whenever
we will all visit.
you cannot go to Africa and come back without going to Nairobi, actually, Okay.
True. Very true.
Okay. So I spent 15 days in Botswana, but I was not happy to return just like that. So it was returning from Botswana was via Nairobi. Okay.
Okay.
Nairobi is always like that.
True.
So
Good
how is the
evening.
COVID
Good evening,
situation
Nitin.
there, Kalpa?
Yes.
Has,
Yeah.
has wildlife tourism started?
Yes, it has started. People are coming in. I think they're just a little bit. We also have a lot of protocols over here still going on. We still have a curfew time from 10 to 4. Gatherings not more than 100 people. So they're still taking all precautions possible.
But international tourism has started. What about quarantine and things like that?
Yes, people are coming in. People have been coming in.
No quarantine.
No, I don't think there's quarantine if you have a vaccine and if you have the PCR test done
Okay.
96 hours prior to traveling.
Okay. Good.
I think each country has its own rules. So I'll still try to find out what are the current rules and probably put it up on the group.
Yeah, that might be good because this is the somewhat kind of season to start the wildlife tourism to Nairobi. I mean, no?
From July to October is what we ask. We tell for about the migration period.
Correct.
Otherwise, I think we have anytime if you go to Masai Mara, I think you will get to see everything, most of it, except for the wildebeest. Otherwise, you get to see all the wildlife.
Good evening,
So
Sanjay.
good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Kiran.
Good evening, Dr. Pradeep.
Actually,
I'm here.
actually, my friend is in Masai Mara right now. He went from Bangalore last week to Masai Mara. He's spending 14 days there.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
once he's back, yeah, he's there right now. As we speak, he's there in Masai Mara right now from Bangalore.
Oh, okay.
So I can get more information probably next week once he comes back.
Yeah. Good. Yes.
Hi, Vijay.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Pradeep sir.
Good evening, Vijay. How are you?
Long time. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see all of you.
Good evening, Dr. Vijaya. Good evening.
Vijaya, good evening, Dr. Pradeep Rao here. You're muted, Vijaya Bharat.
Good evening. Good evening. Hi.
So,
Good evening, doctor.
Dr. Vijaya is from Jamshedpur.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, fantastic. Very nice.
Yeah, and she's an avid bird watcher.
Oh, okay.
And a photographer also.
Yeah, all in the novel stages.
No, but I always say that there is a difference between a birding group and a bird photography group, actually. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. So the birders have more knowledge than bird photographers, actually.
And bird watching is entirely different, I suppose. Because they are neither bothered about the photograph nor about the knowledge. They just see the beauty of the birds.
Correct. In fact, I've bumped into several international groups who go only for bird watching. I mean, like how we go for photography, there are international groups going only for bird watching, actually, Okay. They have fantastic telescopes, monoscope or monocular lens with them. And they're pretty expensive too, in fact. And quite an interesting group they make.
Yeah, doctor, you can easily differentiate in the field. A cameraman with the binocular is a bird watcher. A photographer without a binocular is a bird photographer.
Correct, absolutely.
So it has like become, first you do your MBBS and then the specialization, MD, and then later on go into super specialization, something like that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Good evening, Sam Rajapaksha from
greetings from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Samantha Rajapaksha. Good evening.
Yeah, please call me Sam. My friends call me Sam. Okay. Nice to be part of the group.
Sam is our newest member.
Excellent.
I was listening to the interesting conversation about the bird photographers and the wildlife photographers.
Yeah.
Sam, we had a speaker from Sri Lanka to address on Sri Lankan biodiversity a couple of months ago.
All right.
Yeah. Jayavardhana, you must have heard.
Yes, Pradeep, I think. Yeah, Pradeep.
Rukshan Jayavardhana.
Rukshan. Oh, okay.
Rukshan Jayavardhana.
That's Pradeep's, his son.
Oh, yeah.
Has any one of you all been to Sri Lanka, to any of the parks here?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. Virupattu. I've been to Virupattu.
Right.
Okay. So for the leopards, we went there for the leopards actually.
I have been to Sri Lanka way back in 2003, but I was not into wildlife observation then.
Right.
But yeah, of course, now
I have been
visiting. Yeah.
In fact, actually, Sam, it's quite interesting to see that the leopards because there are no tigers there, the leopards in Sri Lanka are much larger, and their habits are a little bit different from the leopards that we see in wildlife, where there are other cats, actually,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, here they are the king of the terrain.
That's right.
So,
that's right. So because typically when you find leopards along with the other cats, one of the good habits, this one is a leopard will make a kill and it will take it to the top of a tree, and then it will keep there, and then whenever it wants, it will bring it down, have it, and again keep it back, because it does not want other cats to come and take away the kill. Whereas in Sri Lanka, the leopards there are not bothered about other cats, actually.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Therefore, they have not developed in the process of evolution. They have not developed this habit of carrying the kill to the top of the tree, actually,
Yeah, very, very rarely you get a sighting where they've taken the carcass to a top, but they mainly keep it under bushes and underground.
Yes.
So, shall we start? I think we have a good number to start now. Okay.
Before we start, hi Sam, this is Vijay Mane here.
Hi Vijay.
Yeah, we club a lot of fellowship groups. One sub fellowship group, we are in motorcycling Rotarians from India. I think we all are driving out to Sri Lanka very soon, this month sometime.
Yes, I heard a conversation going on about it.
We'll connect with you offline.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, Rashmi, can you mute all? Good evening, friends. A very warm welcome to you all. I'm Rotarian Sanjay. Krishna. I am currently the chair of this fellowship group. I request my friend Rotarian Janki Ram, the secretary of the fellowship group, to address our members. Janki Ram. Janki? We can't hear you. You have to unmute.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Jankiram here, secretary of this fellowship group. I'd like to thank you all for attending this session and welcome you all. Sorry, I'm actually outside and there may be slight disturbance. Anyway, welcome you all to this good gathering being addressed by Dr. Pradeep who's a renowned wildlife photographer, Rotarian, golfer, and a lot of things mixed into one person. And as you know, this fellowship is sort of about like-minded people who have passion and liking towards wildlife conservation and related activities. So we have been as a group for more than a year, and we have a lot of members, both Rotarians and non-Rotarians. We have been involved in certain activities in wildlife and conservation. And as part of this learning session, we are having monthly sessions with experts like Dr. Rao to share their experiences in wildlife, conservation, photography, and visiting different national parks and natural places. So I'd like to welcome you all again. Thanks for participating. Over to Dr. Sanjay.
Thank you, Jankiram. Gitanjali, can you please introduce our speaker for the day?
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, JJ. And good evening and a warm welcome to everyone for being part of today's session, Exotic Ecuador, through a doctor's lens. I take pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Pradeep M. Rao. Dr. Pradeep is a consultant pathologist, Rotarian, wildlife photographer, and a passionate golfer. Photography has been his passion, and he has been pursuing it since his college days as a medical student. He reinvented his technique to suit the DSL format after a gap of nearly 30 years, wherein he was busy pursuing his personal career, personal responsibilities. His passion for birds and mammals took him across the globe to click and showcase his images to the world. He has traveled through the deep jungles of Amazon rainforest in Ecuador to witness the world of hummingbirds, colorful painted buntings of Texas, fantastic flora and fauna of Botswana, mighty Himalayas, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Bhutan, Mangalachori, Bittarkanika, and many other places around the world. He has clicked over 600 species of birds and mammals so far during his various travels and feels happier when he gets to share his amazing experiences from the wild. So here we have Dr. Pradeep M. Rao taking us through exotic Ecuador through his lens. The floor is yours, Doctor.
Good evening, my dear friends, and thank you very much, Sanjay, Gitanjali, and Rashmi, for having me over to address this fine group of people with a common interest being wildlife first for conservation. In fact, I was telling Sanjay yesterday evening that my journey will be more from the photographer point of view. I'm not a conservationist and I've not done much work there. But then he said anybody who does not harm wildlife is a wildlife conservationist. And anybody who appreciates wildlife is a wildlife conservationist. So with that in mind, let me take you, it's more like a travelogue. Let me take you to this wonderful country called Ecuador, South America. I've had the pleasure of visiting there twice, spending almost 2 to 3 weeks both the times. And it was really an amazing experience. In the next maybe 35-40 minutes, I will show you some of the photographs. It's more about, today's talk is more about photography. It's more about identifying the birds. It's more about seeing and appreciating the fantastic creation of Mother Nature in that part of the world. As we had discussed in our trial round, I would request anyone who has questions to put it in the chat box. And at the end of the talk, I think Sanjay or Gitanjali will take up, and it will be with great humility, I would try to address those questions. And if I'm not able to do it, I'll probably come back to you at some other time. But all of us are here for learning and to share my experiences. Why have I termed this talk as exotic? You will see that Mother Nature has really created this country in a very exotic fashion. whether it is flora or whether it is fauna or whether it is birds. It's really a fantastic country to visit and experience the nature's beauty. Few points about the country itself. Ecuador is a country in the northwest South America. Ecuador includes Galapagos Islands in the Pacific, which is about 1,000 kilometers away west of the mainland. The capital and the largest city of Ecuador is Quito. So when you fly either via US or via Europe directly into Quito. And Ecuador itself is one of the 17 mega diverse countries in the world. It was the first country in the world to legally recognize and enforce the right to nature or ecosystem rights in recognition of its unique ecological heritage. And this is something that all of us in this group must be aware of and be proud of. With over 1,600 species of birds, 1,600 species of birds in one country, which is much smaller than Karnataka, whereas in India we have 1,200 species. With 1,600 species of birds, Ecuador boasts of more biodiversity in less space than any other country in the world. So this is the map of South America. This is where Ecuador is, a small country in the northwest portion. And this is the Galapagos Islands, which is about 1,000 kilometers from the mainland Ecuador. When you go to Ecuador itself, looking at the biodiversity, Ecuador has been marked because of the high its levels from the sea. So that is what supports the rainforest. See, this is the rainforest area. This is the area of our interest. You know, where there is rainforest, where there is deciduous forest, where there are dry forests, then mountain forests, etc. Few other interesting points about Ecuador. Ecuador is the closest country to the space because of its bulge at the equator. Mount Chimborazo is about 1.5 miles higher than Mount Everest because of the height itself. The only country in the world which is named after a geographic feature, because the equator passes through the country, through Ecuador. I will show you the place where they are marked to say that this is where the equator passes. Ecuador has world's first two UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Galapagos as number 1 and the city of Quito as number 2. When we visit Galapagos Islands, what is it that interests Galapagos? Charles Darwin, in his theory of evolution, Galapagos is the place where he conducted all his experiments to formulate the theory of evolution, the origin of species. He is linked to his time spent in the Galapagos Islands that inspired him to develop his theory of evolution. The iconic Panama hats, which all of us know, were originally used by the Andean region of Ecuador. By 1800s, they were manufactured and sent to US and hence became Panama hats. And as all of us know, anything that reaches US and anything that US markets goes global. But actually it was Panama hats which was developed in Ecuador. Ecuador is the whole of South America is Spanish. Spanish is the most important language that is spoken, except in Brazil. Brazil is Portuguese, a little bit of history for various historical reasons. And in some places, English is spoken. But the rest of it, all along the western coast, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, is predominantly Spanish. They do not speak a single word of English, not a single word of English. And and this can become a big issue while you're traveling there, unless you're accompanied by an English-speaking guide who you will need even to ask simple things like spoon, fork, plate, water. I mean, they just don't know English. We had to use Google Translate many times, to tell them what we wanted. So if you look at the original people of Ecuador, the tribal people who have all now become, this is a tribe. These are people who belong to the Inca tribes, Inca, INCA, and many other tribes who are presumed to have lived in Ecuador during BC. Right from the BC, they have been living there before the Spanish took over and colonized, and many years of Spanish generations. So this is our guide, Francisco Enquiraz, who is a Spaniard, who is actually a descendant, who is actually a Spanish descendant, but has been living there through generations, and he just does not know how Spain looks. Okay, but they're all of the Spanish, and this is the tribes. We'll see more of them as we get. These are we actually don't find them so often in the cities, but they are there in the rainforest. They are there as tribes in the interiors of the Amazon forest. So a little bit of food and culture of Ecuador. It is predominantly non-vegetarian, predominantly meat-eating country. Vegetarians can have a problem. And this was the first meal that we got for lunch. Some steamed maize and some double beans and some peanuts and some sauce and some cheese, which was smelling quite horribly. Okay, so this was our meal, and this is the way we started our first day of our trip. But gradually we realized that they have rice and they have curds. These are the only two things they have, rice and curds. So during our second trip, when I went, I spoke to the Spanish guy. I told that guy, look here, we need curds. So whenever we went, that guy had packed about, in the mini bus that we had, he had packed 10 liters of curds for us. And wherever he went, he used to keep it in the fridge and serve us. We had taken our pickles and we used to ask for rice. So the vegetarians can have, okay, food issues if they're very particular. Why only vegetarians? Even non-vegetarians can have a problem. This is some type of buns that they make, like our Mangalore buns, banana buns that we see in Udupi and Mangalore, something like that. But even non-vegetarians can have a problem, because if you look at a menu card in a typical hotel, to me it looks like a zoo, because they don't use words like bacon and meat and pork. They use the name of the animals as they are. Okay. For example, if you see here, he will say roast lamb. He will say cow's stomach. He will just call it as fried pig meat. Okay. A cow's tongue in white sauce. I mean, even for a non-vegetarian, this can be quite unappetizing, And their staple diet is guinea pig. Can you imagine guinea pig? They eat guinea pig, which is their staple diet. And in India, guinea pigs are used world over. Guinea pigs are used only for experimental purposes because of their mammalian, because of their DNA, which resembles a mammalian DNA. So when you go there, you'll see things like this, half Andean guinea pig. Okay, and you'll have, to me, it looks like a mini zoo actually. And look at this. This guinea pig is just smoked and brought onto your table. I mean, it can be quite repulsive so to say. Okay. Yeah. So coming from food, let us understand what this Ecuador is all about, what this equator is all about. So outside Quito, there is a tower that's called as that's presumably the place where the imaginary line of equator passes through, and that's a big tourist center. People go there and stand, pose for good photographs. Like this is a tower. This is where the equator is passing. This is an imaginary line. So people go and pose like this. For example, this is our good friend, a photographer, friend of mine. He's standing with his right foot in the north hemisphere and his south foot in the southern hemisphere. people post like this is where the equator passes. So that is where the latitude is supposed to be 0. It clearly says latitude 0. That's where the equator is. Now coming to the area of our interest, which is the birding sites. Typically, the birding sites of Ecuador is around the rainforest around Quito. These are all the various places where a typical birding sites are seen, where any of the guides will take you around. There is some birding to be done around Guayaquil. Some birding people do in the South Equator. Usually they do birding or bird photography around South Equator and North Peru, or most of it is done around Quito. So in Quito, geographically or from the birding point of view, it is divided into 6 zones: the Choco lowlands, the Thomasin lowlands, Amazonian lowlands, subtropics, temperate, and the Galapagos, where tourists visit. Bird photographers and birders visit quite frequently. So now, birding and bird photography in Ecuador is a very well organized industry. There are good places. There are places which are very well equipped, lot of shelter, because in and around the equator there are no seasons. It can rain any time of the day. It rains 12 months of the year. They do not have any seasons there. So many times the whole day it is raining. The whole day it is raining. But yet the birding photography and for birders, it is so well organized that you see birding hides in every household, and there are places where they organize sheltered place where we keep our equipments and then photograph through the day. It might be pouring outside, but your equipment and you are completely safe. So this is a typical setup of a tripod with a camera and a 500 mm lens. I use the 500 mm with 1.4 converter, which will give me a focal length of what's about 700 mm, because that's what you need when you are clicking very small and tiny birds. And we need a very fast lens because hummingbirds are extremely fast. So this is a typical place that you can see all of us, our full team is here with our lenses and all that. These are small little birders where birding bird feeders where these hummingbirds come. We cannot really do, unlike many other places that we do in India and even in Africa, we cannot do wildlife birding there, because one is the size of the birds, and secondly the tall trees that are there, which hardly prevent any sunlight to come down, and therefore we can't see the birds in the wild. In most places they keep these bird feeders, and so birds come somewhere there and they are moving around in the close by places, for you to photograph. Many places are there. This is our team, all of us. These are all from Bangalore. This is Mr. Satya Wagle. This is Dr. Methan from Sholapur, who is an orthopedic surgeon. This is our guide. This is the complete team. We have a pediatrician here. We have this Anant Murthy, who's our team leader and all of that. This is how we set up the whole thing. Now, this is a very interesting concept that they have. I'm showing you this because when we go back to the images, you will see what sort of infrastructure we will need to click the images that many of us see in calendars, in videos, everywhere, including some of the photographs that I have taken. Now, this system is what is called as a multi-flash system to click the hummingbirds. This is a place where a lot of hummingbirds will be. They are just moving around like mosquitoes, like how we see mosquitoes in KGA. If people who are used to seeing KGA, like how mosquitoes, you'll find them all over the place. They are very tiny birds that are moving around. So here is what is called as a multi-flash setup, where for each camera there is a flash, and there are 7 or 8 flashes which are all remotely controlled from the master flash. And they have a complete setup. If you want me to zoom, if I zoom in, you can see. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see that there's a screen that they have provided which makes it look very natural. And then there are small birds, small flowers which are hung here. So these birds keep coming there, and then that's when we photograph from the master. The moment one camera goes, you'll see all these 9 flashes going together. That's a highly complex system to get images like this. Okay, so this is a hummingbird which is coming to that flower. The background, or what we call as a bouquet, looks absolutely ideal. But to get images like that, we need setup like that, especially if you have to capture the wings, because the hummingbird's wings flap somewhere between 25 to 60 times a second. Okay, so at that speed, if you have to freeze an image, we need all this setup. For example, to get images like this, this is if we go back to the video that Sanjay had posted as a teaser to this event. This was one of the hummingbirds that was there in that. To get images like this, if you have to keep all of this. This is a wonderful hummingbird. This is called as a violet-tailed sylph. This is a violet-tailed sylph, and this is the abutilon flower which is there. This image has given me quite a lot of, in many of the exhibitions, I've got some awards for this image actually. So just to understand what this hummingbird is all about and what are the other birds. Ecuador is home to about 131 species of hummingbirds and about 152 species of tanagers. Tanagers are also small birds which are extremely colorful and very good looking. But the iconic species, a lot of them go to Ecuador for the hummingbirds. Hummingbirds have got various species. They're called as hermids, violet ears, sunagals, thornbills, sylphs. You saw that violet-tailed sylph, thornbills, puffleg, coronets. These are all different types of hummingbirds that we see. Very difficult to actually identify them because we are just clicking images, and then it requires a lot of, we buy that guide, and then we have, even after clicking, it's quite a challenge to identify each species. We are constantly in touch with our guide there who will identify and help us in identifying them. The same is not true with tanagers. I mean, that is fairly easy to identify if you have the book and if you have the information. Some interesting facts about hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are the smallest of the migratory birds. They migrate alone. Though they are very small, they still migrate alone, up to 500 miles at a time. The name comes because of the humming noise in their wing make. The wings flap anywhere between 50 to 200 beats per second. So you can imagine if the wings beat at that speed, what sort of equipments you need and what sort of lens you need to freeze them in motion and get to look clear, actually, And it's the only bird that can fly backwards. And it is probably the only bird which can stay still in the air. It will flap its wing and stay still in the air. Not many birds can do that. The average weight is just about 3 grams. The smallest is about 2 inches, weighing about 1.5 grams. What is interesting is that even though the bird is very small, the brain size is quite big. The brain occupies almost 4% of its body weight, making it the largest in the bird kingdom. I mean, therefore, they tend to have very terrific memory. The metabolic rate, I mean, it's not metabolic race cars, it's the metabolic rates it's like a metabolic race car, actually, because the heart beats at 1,260 minutes per minute. And it takes breath because it's very active. It has to constantly keep its oxygen supply. So it breathes 250 times per minute. Compare it with humans. We breathe at somewhere between 12 to 15 times a minute. They breathe 250 times a minute. And because of the high metabolic rate, They appear to be hungry all the time. They keep coming to the feeder, taking in some sugar syrup, going back, again coming back and forth. It appears that from morning to evening, they're doing only this job, and that is keeping its glucose levels quite high. They visit 1,000 flowers a day. They must consume half of its weight of sugar per day because that's where they get the energy from. So what does it do at night? At night, they go into what's called as a suspended state called torpor, where the metabolic rate comes down by 1/15th of what it is during the daytime. It is very important to understand the colors of a hummingbird. The color comes from the iridescent qualities of the feathers. And I believe they have done a lot of study on these feathers. And the feathers, inside the feathers, there is a water droplet or there is some liquid. So when the light passes through these feathers, it has a prism effect, and because of which these feathers look differently at different times to different viewers who are viewing it from different direction. It depends on the angle of the light that falls on it. You will see the fantastic colors. The same image, the same bird, I click from a different angle, it looks differently. So I'll quickly run through some of these birds. The names are quite, some of them are only for academic interest, but let us appreciate the nature of the birds and the color, and someone like me will also appreciate a photograph also if it's good. Okay, so this is called as an Andean emerald. Okay, look at the beak, the colors. These are the colors that I was talking about. Okay, this is a Inca, brown Inca. We are shooting through the day. Even if it rains, we are just able to capture some images like this. These are very small birds. I mean, I would repeatedly like to tell you that these are very small birds. They look big because of the photograph. This is what is called as a brown violet ear. If you can see, this is the ear. There is some violet. Some anatomical features of it go into naming them. Actually, this is a violet ear here. Therefore, it's a brown violet ear. This is a buff-tailed coronet. See the same buff-tailed coronet. When we view it at different angle and different size, look at the way it differs. This was the image that was there in Sanjay's video, which is a chestnut-breasted coronet. Chestnut-breasted coronet. Chestnut-breasted coronet. Same thing. This wonderful bird is wire-crested thorn tail. So look at the tail which is like a thorn, and there's a crest on the head, almost like a wire-crested. I must have taken at least 500 images before I got one image like this. Okay, so because you have to get all the features, it's not very easy to get this one. I must confess that this is one of the many images that I have of this actually. Same thing, wire-crested thorn tail on a flower. This is the Empress Brilliant. This is fawn-breasted brilliant again. Fawn-breasted brilliant from the other side. This is from the back, and that's the front. See the water droplets because of the constant rain. Look at that. I mean, this is something absolutely fantastic. Golden-tailed sapphire. The tail is golden. I mean, if you see a posterior view of this, you'll get to look at it. But this is the iridescent nature of the feathers that I was talking about. That's the one. Golden-tailed sapphire. Look at the head. Look at him. It is too exciting for me to I mean, all of you will agree with that. This is a sword-billed hummingbird. Look at the bill. the important feature. This bill is almost the size, is as long as the bird itself. It's a sword-billed hummingbird. Same thing here, sword-billed hummingbird. Since this is not with the multi-flash and all those things, this is the best that we can get. You can see the wings flapping here. But what is interesting is that we see the catch light in the eye and the whole bill is in focus. This is Gowl's jewel friend. To understand this, this is the Gowl's jewel friend. Same thing here. This is a fork-tailed wood nymph. Fork-tailed wood nymph. These are the. We should catch them. We should click. We should get an image where we are able to get these colors. It's not very often that we get it. I mean that's what we have to capture. Same thing here again. Look at the beautiful color. I mean, how many colors? This may not be more than about 1 inch or 1 or 2 inches. The whole bird. This is a relatively sad-looking hummingbird. Okay, of course, this is one of the largest hummingbirds. It's called as a giant hummingbird. This is a green crowned wood nymph. Green crowned wood nymph. Very tiny bird. Very, very tiny bird. This is a purple bibbed, white tip, purple bib. White. This is the purple bib. This is the bib. Purple bib. A lot of them are tongue twisters. Same thing, purple bill. This is a collared Inca. Like how if people who know in India we have a white collared kingfisher. We just call it as collared kingfisher, though it's called as white collared kingfisher. Something similar to that, collared Inca. Inca is one of the species of the hummingbirds. This is a brown Inca. Buff-tailed coronet. Same buff-tailed coronet with the wings in place. Again, brown violet here. This is the place. See, these are bird feeders. Many of you would have seen it or would have heard about it. So, birding is actually a home industry there. Every house will keep some sort of a bird feeder. Not all of them allow you to take images or pictures, but every household would have just kept it just as a part of their culture to just feed the hummingbirds. That's you'll find this very often in most households. There's a small little garden, they'll just hang this there. Hummingbirds are always coming there. This is a black-throated brilliant. Look at that. This is the iridescent. See, actually, I could not get it here, but I could get it in a particular place. No? This is the many-spotted hummingbird. We saw this previously. Yeah, this is the reason why it's called that way. Velvet purple coronet. Shining sunbeam. Actually, this is the front of it. When you go see the back, this is how it happens. When it wings open, we would like to click. Some more of the images, same images, and this is the tongue, and the speed of the tongue is also very high because it has to suck the glucose water. Some more images of the same. Violet-tailed sylph. Hermit. Violet is, this is the one. Look at this long, beautiful blue tail. I mean, it's just amazing. The idea is to always get your image when this is frozen, and that's what makes this image what it is. That's the one. This is called as this very interesting hummingbird. This is actually booted racket tail. Booted racket tail. Those who know about those who have done photography or bird watching in India, there is a similar one amongst the drongo in India. You will get racket tail drongo in India, something like this. Some more of the same, just to run them through. This is interesting. This is rufous-tailed hummingbird. This is actually with one single flash. I mean, this is more a default image where the whole thing looks like as if it's a glass, made of glass. But it's something that happened just like that. Rufous-tailed, because the tail, this is what it is. White-necked Jacobin. White-necked Jacobin female. So with that, we complete a few of the hummingbirds. There are many more, but just to give you an idea of nature's creation for hummingbirds. Then we go to the second set of birds, which are very common in Ecuador, which are the tanagers. The tanagers are small and medium-sized birds, which are also brightly colored. Their size is from 9 centimeters to about 28 centimeters. Both sexes have similar size. They are found only in the Western Hemisphere. And 60% of them live in South America, out of which 30% is in the Andes. They usually live in pairs or small groups. They're omnivorous. They breed from September to November. They will nest, which is cup-shaped in the trees, which have a side entrance. Some information. This is what is called as a golden tanager. A golden tanager. This is a black-capped tanager. Same thing. So the apart from the feeders for hummingbirds, lot of these places also have bird hides where they keep fruits. They keep fruits for depending upon the nature of the birds. In fact, I have to tell you how well organized this industry is. Tourism is in Ecuador. We went to a place. This guy had 3 different places to click 3 different types of birds. First he will take you to one place where all insect-eating birds are there, and there he will have a beautiful perch, backdrop, everything is there. And at one side, he has kept a white sheet of cloth on which there is a reflected light through the night. So all the insects come and get stuck there to that screen. And when the day breaks, the insect-eating birds come there, pick up the insect from the white screen and go to a perch and sit. So you'll get a completely different type of birds there. Then he will take you to a place where fruit-eating birds come, tanagers. So he will keep fruits like this, and you can get all the fruit-eating, nut-eating birds. Then he will take you to a hummingbird. This is a blue-capped tanager. Same thing. This wonderful bird is blue-gray tanager. That's the image, a dream image actually, because of you can see the raindrop here. The whole composition is quite good. This is the image that we had put it where Sanjay had put on the screen. This is a honey creeper. It's actually a green honey creeper, blue-green honey creeper. This is a blue-winged mountain tanager, blue-winged mountain tanager, male. Blue-winged mountain tanager. Dusky bush tanager. Lemon-rumped tanager male, lemon-rumped tanager. Sorry, that was lemon-rumped tanager female. This is lemon-rumped tanager male. That was the female. This is the male. And I'll tell you why we have to identify male and female. It would later. This is a glistening green tanager, looking like our almost parrot color. Same thing, glistening green. Glistening green tanager female. Flame-faced tanager. Flame-faced tanager. Golden collared honey creeper. Look at this. Golden collared honey creeper. Same thing here. Very beautiful bird. Very, very. This is why I want to identify the male and female. This is a standard Ghar Ghar Ki Kahani. The male is here down, almost in complete submission. The female is here sitting, probably shouting at the male. So nature has made it this way. What can be done? And in all animals, it is the same. This is a beautiful euphonia. This is a rufous-throated tanager. Rufous-throated. This is rufous-throated. Same thing, rufous-throated, back, rain. In most slides, you will see rain because rain is there throughout. Scarlet-bellied mountain tanager. Another cute-looking bird, silver-throated tanager. Moss-backed, moss-backed. Golden-naped. Apart from tanagers, you also find what are called as arakaris. These are one type of birds there. The other species, apart from hummingbirds and tanagers, we look at the other birds that we find, which are also equally beautiful and very nice to see. Same thing, arakari. Pale mandibuled alakari, same thing. That was the back, this is the front. Then we also get to see some mammals there. Andean rabbit. Lapwing. Lapwing is the other bird. We see a lot of lapwings in India too. There are about 12 species of lapwings in India. This is the one that is from there. That's called as Andean lapwing. These are black-faced ibis. This is a black vulture. Blue jays. Jays are a group of birds which belong to our crow family of crows. It's like our tree pies that we see in India. Same thing there. Blue jay. Some other birds that you see. This is a brown-winged parrot. Brown-winged parrot. This is called a caracula, caracara, C-A-R-A-C-A-R-A. Carunculated caracara. It's one of the raptors type, like vulture, belong to the vulture eagle family. Quite a large bird. Looks very good in flight. This is an agouti. This is a mammal called as an agouti. It's called as a brown agouti. This is another word. If you see any pictures of Ecuadorian birds, on Facebook, on tourism sites, everywhere, this bird will always make its appearance. This is called as a toucan, Toucan. This is called as choco toucan. Very common bird. I mean, very commonly used bird for the bird life of Ecuador. Same thing, choco toucan, Toucan. We also get to see some antpitas, chestnut crowned antpitas. Antpitas are small birds, mostly ground. They actually move around in the ground. They have a very small tail or a feather. It's like pittas. It's like a pitta. We get pittas in India too, in fact. This is a very interesting bird in Ecuador. This is called as a cock of the rock. Cock of the rock. This is the male. What is interesting is that the eye and the beak, you just cannot make out. I mean, how it almost looks like an English policeman's cap. Actually, it's called as a cock of the rock. There's a particular place where these birds come early morning, and they dance and do all kind of antics to impress the female of the species. So you see a lot of males. It's very difficult to see a female there. Female cock of the rock. 2 trips I have not been able to click a single female, but we have been able to click a few of these. It's called as cock of the rock. Very interesting bird. This is how the back of it looks. The beak is somewhere here, hidden in the neck, somewhere here, one eye and the other eye, and look at it. It's absolutely fantastic. Cock of the rock. This is the other bird, barbets. A lot of us would have seen barbets in India too. This is also a barbet. This is called as a toucan barbet. Barbet generally are colorful birds. Even in India, barbets are colorful birds. Around Bangalore, we get to see coppersmith barbet. We get to see white cheek barbet, BGC, KGA. We get to see barbets. Barbets typically have a very stout beak and very colorful. And generally, they are photographer friendly. When they settle down somewhere, they are sitting there for a fairly long time. Same thing, toucan barbet. This is also an interesting bird. Toucanet. This is a crimson rumped toucanet. Crimson rumped toucanet. This is one more green jay. What we saw earlier was a blue jay, all belonging to the crow family. This is all in wild. All these are in wild. They don't come to the heights so much. This is all in the wild, because the birds are big. So sometimes we may be able to get some images like this. Again, see the rain. Beautiful bird. Very, very beautiful. Red-headed barbet. So the image used. This is also a red-headed barbet, female. This is the male. That's a female. Appreciate the rain again. Always raining. One more pitta. This is called as yellow-breasted pitta. Observe the lack of feathers here, or a tail, what we call. This is one more bird called flower piercer, masked flower piercer, masked flower piercer. One more toucan. This is called as plate-billed plate. It looks like a plate here. Plate-billed mountain toucan. This particular bird is. Same thing here. Plate-billed mountain toucan. Woodpeckers, black-checked woodpeckers. Now, this is a very interesting bird. This bird is actually called as an umbrella bird. Typical only of Ecuador. Usually, it is there in the thick forest. It does not come very near this one, and one has to be lucky to get. This is the display that it does, where it opens up to attract the female. One has to get this image to actually know that that's the beauty of that. It's called as an umbrella bird. Any of you can Google umbrella bird, you'll see this. Same thing here, umbrella bird. very difficult to photograph, very difficult to spot because it's the thick, and for some of these birds, we have to really get into the rainforest, and we should understand that rainforests, first and foremost, there is no light. Secondly, the floor is moist, the floor is slippery, the floor is slushy, and it's quite a challenge to get some of these birds. But one has to be quite mad or passionate to go through all that to get one image like this. Next, we move to Amazon. From the Quito region, we move to the Amazon belt of Ecuador. As all of you know, Amazon is one of the largest forests in the world. Very thick forest, lot of water bodies, rivers, etc. So we need to really get into the forest in boats like this and click on the boat. This is actually called as a very interesting phenomena. These are called as gray-headed parakeets. They come to this clay. This is called as clay lick. At a particular time of the day, they come in hordes to a particular place where it's all in nature. I mean, there's no hide there. It's all in nature. The scientific reason is that they normally feed on some plums in the forest, which can be poisonous to their body. So to counter the effect of those chemicals, these parrots come and lick the clay to counter them. So this is a clay lick of the gray-headed parakeets in the Amazon. This is one of them, gray-headed parakeet on a perch. This is a blue-headed parakeet, again at a clay lick. You know, they lick this. This is the blue-headed parakeet. India also is home to several parakeets. Just for information, there's only one. All the what we see on our rooftops, what we see everywhere are parakeets. There is only one parrot in India, which is the vernal hanging parrot. Rest of it is all the long-tailed ones are all parakeets. So this is also a parakeet in Ecuador, of course. This is also a blue-headed parrot. This is a parrot. I mean, it's not a parakeet. There it's a parrot. Blue-headed parrot. This is a southern mealy Amazon parrot. These are some birds called as Ani, A-N-I. These are all in the wild. In the wild, we also get to see, we go to Amazon mainly for this bird. This is a blue and yellow macaw in the wild. I mean, all of us would have seen this in exhibitions, in circus and things like that. But this is in the wild. I mean, you see them in the wild. You know, this is a scaly-naped Amazon parrot, again, which has come for that. This actually came to a place where there was water. Okay, not so much of a clay lick. In the Amazon, we got to see some of these hawks. This is called as a common night hawk. Most of the birding in Amazon is done in a boat. Not a very great boat. It's more like a canoe. So we do that there. And as the day comes to a close, you can spot something like this. This is a caiman, a type of a reptile, something resembling a crocodile or an alligator, something like that. So we just got to see it as close as this, that I could just get the pupil of the crocodile, in fact, of the caiman. This is a very interesting bird called as Hoatzin, spelled as Hoatzin. This bird is very important from the evolutionary point of view. During its formation, this is an adult one. When this bird is a juvenile, if you remember the evolution of a bird, birds came after reptiles. So you will actually see claws on the wings when they are very young. When they become adult, the claws go away. Therefore, these are actually called as an historic bird. The word used for them is historic hoatzin. Same thing here. Of course, we didn't get to see them with the claws. This is one of the kingfishers that we got. This is called as an Amazon kingfisher. I'm sure all of you know that kingfishers are also found in India. 12 species of kingfishers in India. I think that's where the kingfisher calendar came from. There are 12 species in India, but this is a Amazon kingfisher. Same thing here. Then we go to the Amazon forest. We had a very interesting experience in the Amazon forest because we wanted to I will play this one here. See this, am I audible?
Yes, doctor.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, doctor.
Yeah.
You're audible.
Okay. This is a very interesting video. We had to click the cock of the rock across a mountain. So we were staying in this one, and this damn bird was there in some other mountain. So we had to cross the valley of the Amazon on a contraption which was so rustic. It was a box made out of a fabricated box, and then it was operated by this guy on a motorcycle at one end. You can see it at the right end of the screen. So we had to cross almost about half a kilometer across the Amazon forest to go to the other side of the mountain. And you will see the type of vision that we could get of the Amazon forest. Amazon forest trees only are about 200-300 feet, and we are almost at about 1,000 feet, I think, to cross the mountain range from one mountain to the other mountain. It was a fantastic experience. So I will take you through a aerial view of the Amazon forest.
Doctor, are you playing the video? Doctor, are you playing the video?
Sorry?
Are you playing the video?
Yeah, I'm playing the video.
Can everyone see?
No, we can't.
It's not moving.
You can't see?
Yeah, it's not moving. It's just the same screen which says Save Amazon Rainforest.
Oh, okay.
You might have to share that window.
Huh?
You'll have to share the video window.
That video. Okay, we'll come back to that later on. Okay, let me go ahead. Okay, yeah. So when we crossed that mountain, we were able to see this bird. This is again a cock of the rock, the Amazon cock of the rock. If you remember what we saw in Quito, in that part, the bird is more reddish, whereas here it is more orangish. And you can see in this you can see the beak. Somewhere here the beak is actually,
Doctor, we are not able to see the photo of the bird.
Why?
Could you share again? Share your screen again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Amazon. This is the Amazonian cock of the rock, which is a little bit different from what we saw earlier. Am I audible? And is the slide seen?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Same thing again. Andean cock of the rock. These are the tribal women I was talking to you when I started. These are the original inhabitants of Ecuador, who are now reduced to just staying in the mountains as tribes. We had an opportunity to actually, they were the ones who took us to shoot one eagle called as harpy eagle. So we had to take their help. We had to walk almost 5 kilometers in the rainforest, crossing rivulets, small rivers, slush, wearing those gumboots up to knee height, just to get one image of this. Then we come to some more birds in the Amazon region. Okay, this is the Aracari that we saw there is different. This is different. This is many banded Aracari, 1, 2, 3, 4 bands. This is a heron. This is a snail kite. This is a kite. Actually, it only eats snails. It picks up the snails from the water bodies, and it only feeds on snails. That's why it's called as a snail kite. This is a rufescent tiger heron, a hawk. Now, these are some other mammals that you will get to see. This is called as a howler monkey. You know, a huge one. There you can see them on the trees. All Amazon. All this is Amazon, and this is why they are called as a howler monkey. They came to a water body. It was the same water body where we saw those parrots. This is an interesting image got default. There is this howler monkey and there is one tortoise here in the water. It seems to be speaking to that. Then there are these squirrel monkeys. Look at them, so cute they are actually. Very small. Ecuador is also home to a lot of volcanoes. So this is one of the live volcano live that we could spot when we were driving. Because of volcanoes, there are some places where you find thermal springs. In fact, this is one place called Thermas de Papelacta. We spent one night here. When you walk on in the hotel room floor, when you walk, you can actually feel the temperature below. I mean, the floor is warm because of the hot springs that are there. This is just, they in fact mix the cold water and hot water from thermal springs and let it out into their landscape. People can just come and spend some time there, because of the low temperatures, but thermal springs. Then we come to the last portion, which is Galapagos. Very interesting. Galapagos is an archipelago of about 18 volcanic islands distributed on either side of equator in the Pacific Ocean, 100 kilometers west of main Ecuador. They are known for large number of species which Charles Darwin studied before he postulated the theory of evolution. The thing here is that the Spaniards first discovered this in 1535, and for a long time the English pirates were using it. There was no human habitation for many years. Since there were no human habitation, the animal life there did not know what is meant by predator. So the only animals which could live in the saline waters got onto the island, and they made the island their home, and they just moved around there till man. Again, I want to use the word till man went there and started doing what he did to the rest of the world, which is to destroy the animal life. Till then, the birds just lived there. Therefore, you can see fantastic animals of a completely different kind, who were there in the saline waters, who just crossed across onto the island. So this is the image of the Galapagos Islands. Many islands. So how does one visit? There are flights that get into Galapagos Islands. They have restricted even now they want to maintain the ecological balance. Therefore, they don't allow many tourists. They have regulated the number of tourists who can get onto the flight. They regulate, everything is under regulation. Little bit of tourism is there, and you can go to a couple of islands only. The other islands you have to just cover through some steamer or something like that. A man cannot step in because of his nature. Okay, so so these are only about 2 or 3 islands are inhabited, but you can visit the other by a steamer and then walk around, take images, study, and come back. So we stayed in a place called Galapagos Greens. We just had to take a steamer and go around. We had some people there to help us. So you can see things like this very often there. Huge cactus. The birds that are seen there are completely different. These are boobies. This is called as a blue-footed booby. Blue-footed booby. The color of the legs is because of its diet. The carotenoids in the diet that it has, the crabs and all those things that they eat, they all get settled down to give this color. Blue-footed. Blue-footed booby again. Then you see huge tortoises, huge 6-footers. You know, they'll be just walking on the road. I mean, walking on the paths like this. You know, and they have been there for hundreds and millions of years till man went there, and a lot of these pirates, when they went there, English pirates, they started hunting them, they started using them for their food and things like that. So the numbers have come down like anywhere else, but still you can see them moving like this. This is almost about 4 feet high. I mean, I had to lie down on the ground to get an image like this, but still this is what it is. 4 to 5 feet. Tortoise. Then there's a coot, where you find coots in here also. They are building some nests here. It's collecting some material to build some nests. Then this is a brown noddy. This is a brown pelican. Again, brown pelican. This is a flamingo. The orange neck and the foot here also is because of their diet. They eat crustaceans. I'll show you the crustaceans that they eat, and because of which they develop this color. You see, flamingos. You can see some penguins also. Galapagos is the only other place that you can see penguins apart from Antarctica. Though their structure is different, but they are the only place where, apart from Antarctica, where you can see penguins. This is a great blue heron, ground finch. These are the birds on which I believe Charles Darwin did a lot of his studies to study the theory of evolution. These are the yellow warblers. This is a Nazca booby. Peruvian pelican. Yeah. You know, you don't see this. This is called as a iguana. This is a marine iguana. It looks almost like our crocodile, it's like a reptile, but evolutionarily they're a little bit different. This is a marine iguana. Look at them, how they look. They almost look like a mini dinosaurus. They're very small. They may not be more than about 3 or 4 feet. I mean, much smaller than that, 2 feet. You find them in clumps all over Galapagos. On the rocks, you'll find them. You will not find them anywhere else in the world. This is quite a close-up. This is a land iguana. What we saw earlier was a marine iguana. This is a land iguana. Actually, over the period of as a part of evolution, these birds do not know what is meant by a predator. You know, that's why they are on the ground. The tortoises are moving on the grounds. Birds are on the grounds. Everything is on the ground. You can walk as close as this and take an image. They will just not fly away. They will just not fly away. They lay their eggs on the ground. They just do this marking. Some marking they have. And then they lay their eggs on the ground and just incubate them on the ground, because they don't know what is a predator. I mean, just before the event started, we were discussing with the leopards of Sri Lanka, something like that. Leopards of Sri Lanka are different from leopards in India and even in the Africa. Like that, I mean, you can just go there and you see the maternal instinct because of the direction of the sun. The booby, it'll keep on changing its direction to provide shade to the eggs. That is the beauty that one has to observe here actually. Look at that. And the chicks, they're just on the ground. I mean, they just don't know danger. They don't know danger. Chicks are growing there. They are just, the nests are just about there in small shrubs and bushes. This is a very interesting bird. This is called as a frigate bird. They have this grallos, which actually red in color. This is a male, and it's a fantastic sight to see how they attract the female by blowing this up. So they blow this up and fly over around females and hover around the nest just to attract the female frigate birds. Look at that. This is just to attract the female frigate birds. Then of course one gets to see sea lions plenty. It's a photographer's dream to get an image like this, when the waves are there and the water bubbles all over the place. Maternal instinct of a mom and a kid. Yeah, these are called as sally crabs. You'll see them along the shores of Galapagos. These are the crustaceans that these flamingos eat. And the carotenoids that you see here are the ones that will settle down in the neck and in the foot of those flamingos. I'm sure the blue-footed booby also will have something like this. These are crabs, which you see them on the rocks. This is also one light-footed crab. So friends, here we come to the end of my description and my travel to Ecuador. Interesting place to go to, lot to learn. Feel like going back again and again. My talk is over. Thank you very much for a very, very patient listening. And I'm quite happy to be with all of you. I'm now open to take any questions.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. I request our members to raise their hand, and please stick to only one question per head when you are asked to unmute. There are two questions in the chat box. The first one is, what's the lifespan of a hummingbird? And the other one, that you could take that question.
So actually, I must confess that my answer may not be very accurate, but I have no idea of this. I cannot give an answer actually. Okay.
Okay. All right.
If I belong to a birders group or a bird watching group, okay, I may have had this information. I am only looking at the birds as a photographer actually. Okay.
I think this question has given us an opportunity to look up for the answer.
Please.
Thanks for asking, Pratap. And the next question is, what's the difference between Arakari and a toucan? Any idea?
They're all different birds completely. If you see the morphology itself, it is completely different. Okay. They all are different birds. I mean, there's no relationship at all to speak about it. The morphology is different. Everything is different. They don't belong to the same family at all.
Thank you. Anybody? Yes, Nitin, please ask your question. Nitin, you have to unmute.
Nitin, you have to unmute.
One second.
Yeah, no, I was not able to because I didn't have the lights. Great presentation, Pradeep sir. I mean, very fascinating. Now it has interested me to visit Ecuador. Very nice photographs. So I just wanted to pick on the last topic that you just talked about, right? I mean, you don't see any predators there. No, everything is on the ground. It's very, they're very friendly, right? But interesting know that what about the snakes? I mean, we know that the Amazon forest and all these are heavily infested with the snakes.
Yes.
So they don't get scared with that. I mean,
No. Yeah, Nitin, the predator portion was for Galapagos Islands.
Okay, there.
Galapagos, because Galapagos Islands there was no man. I always want to use the word man. Man did not go there. Okay, for a long time. Okay, till the English pirates went there somewhere in the 15th, 16th century. Okay, it is the law, in the theory of evolution. To grow and survive in a predator-free environment, we are talking about Galapagos Islands. Okay, the snakes that you are talking is in the Amazon. Okay. In the Amazon, of course, there are snakes, but I'm not a reptile photographer. Okay, so obviously there are a lot of snakes. Obviously, we did get to click one or two. Obviously, those who want to do reptile photography, those who want to do snake photography, they obviously have to go at a different time of the year and different type of places to probably do snake photography. Snake and reptile photography itself is a specialty. For example, if you go here in Western Ghats, frogs and snakes are done in the Amboli region. So obviously, I think I have not done reptile photography actually.
Thank you, Doctor. I request Rotarian Shashikant Pobati to unmute. And just before that, there is an interesting fact that is shared by one of our friends from Jamaica, Tricia. It says that the hummingbird, also called the doctor bird, is the national bird of Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So today we have a doctor talking about the doctor bird.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that information, Tricia. Yes, Shashikant sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. My goodness, Pradeep sir, it was amazing. I was riveted to the screen. I just wanted to know, sir, basically, you have kindled the interest in all of us. We city slickers, we don't know anything about all these birds and other things. I have a personal question. I mean, concerned only with this particular topic. What really made you go to Galapagos Islands and, take out all these photographs? I mean, I'm really wondering, I want to know how this passion drive you, or how did you go about doing all these things?
Okay.
Could you kindly, sate our curiosity about this, please?
See, I took to bird photography. I always wanted to do bird photography because when I was a medical student and much earlier than that, I used to see a lot of excellent photographs by well-known photographer E. Hanumantrao. I mean, many people here will know E. Hanumantrao. They used to click a lot of photographs. Somehow, when I started photography, I always wanted to do bird photography. I don't know why, but I wanted to, because I thought because I like traveling. I thought if you take bird photography, you can travel the world, because birds are there everywhere in the world. Birds are there everywhere in India. Okay, so when I started bird photography, I thought I used to do a lot of reading, and I joined a group through Facebook. I met a lot of friends who had visited Ecuador and who had visited Galapagos Islands. So when you are moving in a peer group, like how kids have peer pressure, you also have peer pressure. Okay, and only thing is you have to have deep pockets to have peer pressure. Okay, but you see, so somehow things fell in place. And I also knew that if you go to Ecuador, I had read one of my good friends called Dr. Ajit Huilgold, who is a renal transplant surgeon and a good wildlife photographer. He had gone to Galapagos. So I had just spoken to him. And then I also started reading. And then myself and my wife, both of us, she also likes nature and wildlife. So both of us, when we went to Ecuador, we did a short trip to Galapagos. Actually, the trip to Galapagos itself is about 7 days. But we could not do 7 days. We could do only about 3 or 4 days. So we just added the Galapagos to Ecuador. So first time when we went, I did Ecuador with Galapagos. Second time when we went, we did Ecuador, including the Amazon forest. So we were able to do it. I am now looking at going to Ecuador third time to do South Ecuador and North Peru. So that is the plan. Let us see.
Thank you, Doctor. Really very nice of you to take that question. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, for your information. Late E. Hanumantrao's daughter is in our fellowship group as a member.
Okay.
Her name is Anita Noble. I think she has not joined today. Yeah,
Okay.
she is a part of our group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Monica,
nice. Please. Monica Patil, Rotarian Monica Patil. Yeah, please go ahead. Unmute, Monica. You have to unmute.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening and thank you for this fantastic presentation, Doctor.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
I have my question in two parts, or rather two questions. Firstly, when you say in the Galapagos there are no predators and hence they don't know who enemies or predators are, is it that the survival rate is 100% there for all the birds and
no, there is no. Okay.
Yeah, and my second question is, who and how was this trip planned? Because it seems to be a very interesting circuit of the trip.
Okay. So first question. Now, when I say there are no predators, specifically I wanted to stress on the point that in our theory, in our evolution, okay, all of us evolved by knowing dangers, for any evolution for that matter. Okay, because because I think there in Galapagos, animals don't eat animals. They survive on crabs, this and all that. So they never, since man was not there, the biggest predator for animal kingdom is man. Okay, so since man was not there, they lived there for centuries and centuries and centuries. Just cohabitation. Only when the English pirates went there, they did not find food because there was no agriculture. Okay, so they started shooting the tortoises, started eating tortoise meat. They started eating iguanas. They started eating birds for their own survival when pirates went there. That is exactly, even now, why they have controlled is they do nothing from the land from the outside land is taken into Quito, is taken into Galapagos. Okay, so there was no, for example, you would not see a cow, you won't see sheep, you won't see all these things because these are all man-made domestic animals. Okay, so all these animals are not there. Even now they are not there. Okay, so that is what is the theory of evolution, is what I'm thinking. And as far as death is concerned, as far as the life is concerned, I think every animal comes with its own life cycle and lifespan and things like that. But in an animal kingdom, there is no hunting that happens. That's what I wanted to say when there are no predators. So if I'm not mistaken, they will allow only about 100 to 150 tourists from the mainland to get into Galapagos at any given point of time and then get back with lot of restrictions. You can't carry your luggage, much of luggage. You have to go with only few luggage, which is screened thoroughly for any weapon, for any harmful instruments and things like that. The Ecuador government has retained it as a heritage site. That is why it is UNESCO's #1 heritage site. Galapagos Islands. It is UNESCO's #1 heritage site. So for that, lot of effort has been put by the Ecuador government actually. And I must say, though they have complaints, I must say as a visitor, I thought it was a great visit. Yeah. Your second question about who organized it? Well, this trip I organized it myself. Okay. I organized it. I met this. I met this guide through Facebook, and then I befriended him. And then I was impressed because he could speak English, because that was most important for me. Okay. So first time my wife and I went. Second time I took my photographer friends, the team that you saw. Okay, was my photographer friends. We went back to the same guide. And now he has become our contact point, because now we are sending our friends and etc., who are interested in doing it. But he is our point of contact. He can speak English and Spanish.
Okay.
Okay.
So one knows now how to plan it, who to go
Oh,
to.
no problem at all. Anytime for wildlife, anytime for photography.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. I think I'll request you to take lead and
Sure.
plan a trip for our wildlifers.
Sure.
Maybe we can plan well in advance and make a trip. Yes,
Sure.
Rahul, Rotarian Rahul. Rahul is from a very beautiful birding place of Karnataka, Dandeli. Please go ahead, Rahul.
Black cap monarch. Okay.
Yes, I have cited it recently. I have seen it nesting as well recently.
Yes, Rahul.
First of all, I would like to thank you. Yeah, Black Cap Monarch. Thank you so much, sir. I should appreciate your passion, your commitment, and dedication. Okay, because I know that even I'm a birder, and it really needs a lot of patience. And your session was really crystal clear, and it was, it will definitely put a lot of people, for birding things now. Okay, and also for the conservation of it. So I have one question. Is like, what is the conservation steps they have taken? What are the efforts, conservation efforts in that place to protect the birds and other wildlife things? And the second thing is like, we do have a hummingbird moth in India. And which is the camera and the lens you use? Thank you so much.
Okay. See, conservation efforts, again, as I started with a disclaimer to say I'm not a conservationist. Okay. And but one thing I must tell you, all over Ecuador, every single person whom we met are very passionate, and that's why I said that every household will have a feeder there. Every household, like how we put our during Christmas and all that, how we have these lampshades outside the house, decorating our houses. Every household will have these feeders. They're all doing it. I'm sure the Ecuador government has taken up steps with severe punishment. More than punishment, I think tourism being a very important point, important source of income for Ecuador. A lot of the citizens themselves are quite conscious about it, and they protect it because they know that their livelihood depends on that. This is what I'm thinking, though I may not have the rules and regulations on hand, but this is what I could see the passion. I can only say this much as far as conservation is concerned. Camera, yes, one needs a good camera, preferably what we call as a full either crop sensor or a big sensor. I use a Canon 5D Mark IV, and lens has to be minimum 500 mm. 400 mm also is manageable. 400 to 500. I use a 500 mm with a TC. I see Chidanand here somewhere. He has been my birding friend. Both of us also have gone to Andamans together. So we have, all of us use 500 minimum 500 f4 because you need the speed, and sometimes the light is very poor. Therefore, you need a big focal. You need 4 or 2.8 or something like that. A tripod is 100% must. These are some of the things that a photographer will know when he's going to click images like this. Is it okay, Rahul? Did I answer all your questions?
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah. And I would like to thank you once again for this information.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, we have Rotarian Sundar Prakash. Sundar, please go ahead and ask.
Thanks, Sanjay. Dr. Rao, it's excellent, amazing presentation, lovely birds, all that. Okay, my question is, how do I reach Ecuador? Through US or through Europe, or which other country? Because India is far away. You need a couple of connecting flights.
Yeah.
And all the way going there, do you also cover Ivory Coast or any other countries? Costa Rica?
Okay. Now, it all depends upon how many days you would like to spend. and what are the regions you would like to cover. First question, you can go to Ecuador directly from Europe. Either you go to Spain, and Spain has some flights which goes directly to Quito. But what we did was, both the times we went to US, go to Atlanta. From Atlanta, there are flights that will take you to Quito. Ecuador is about 11 hours or 10 and a half hours behind us. It's a long flight. It's a long flight. I mean, Bangalore to US itself is a long flight. And then again, another 5 or 6 hours from there. You go either through US or through Europe. Europe generally Spain. I think even there are flights which connect from Amsterdam. From Amsterdam also there are flights that go. We went through Europe, we went through US both the times. That is about reaching Quito. Your second question was?
Do you cover also Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, yeah. Now, this way, for example, it all depends upon the number of days that one has at his disposal. Both the times we did only Ecuador, because Ecuador itself, to do justice to Ecuador, will take you a minimum of 15 days. Even if you don't go to Galapagos, it takes 15 days. Because apart from the mainland, that is Quito and surrounding Quito, we did 7 days around Quito and 7 days Amazon second time, 7 days main Quito, and about 5 days Galapagos first time. So that is one. Lot of people, one can go to Costa Rica from there. Flight between Ecuador and Costa Rica is about another 4 hours. People can do it. In fact, we have a group that is going. We are going to Costa Rica somewhere next May, if everything is all right. We are going to Costa Rica itself for 21 days, and a part of our group from there is going to Ecuador from Costa Rica, and they're spending another 3 weeks there. So it all depends upon the number of times. But if one has gone up to Costa Rica, if one has gone up to Ecuador, one can cover Costa Rica too.
Thank you, Doctor.
Sundar, I just wanted to also inform everyone that traveling to Ecuador is much easier, especially as far as visa issues are concerned, because you get 90 days visa on arrival.
Exactly.
Oh, thanks, Gitanjali. That was my other question.
On arrival, is it?
On arrival, yeah.
Oh, that's
on
nice.
arrival. On arrival. And especially if you have a American visa, there is no problem at all. In fact.
Oh, okay.
Doctor, what about food? How did you manage food?
ಏನು ರಾಮಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮುದ್ಗಲ್ ಅವರೇ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳೋದು? Okay, that is the only place where you can go on a holiday and come back losing weight. Actually, okay. Okay. So hige manage ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. See, the point is vegetarians alwa. So rice sigate, you get rice everywhere. Vegetables are available. But I must tell you that slowly the people can understand what vegetarianism means. Okay, like Europe, even Ecuador, because they are taking a lot of tourists in the hotels that you stay. We manage. Hell in the lab. First time we had a little bit of an issue, but rice is available, curds is available, a lot of maize, cheese, all these things are available. And like any other Indian who goes abroad, we always carry something in our bags. Okay, so which is typical. Some MTR mixes, that, this, and all that. So with rice, we mix all of that. And actually, the second time when we went, we were staying in a place for a window. We stayed for about 5 days. I actually got into the kitchen, and that guy was serving some mashed potato. And because I saw him making some pizza, something like that, I taught him how to use pizza dough and use the mashed potato and some onions, and I taught him how to make aloo parathas there, in fact. Okay, so I taught him that for 2 days that we were there, and by the time we came back, that guy already converted an aloo paratha into meat and started putting minced meat into that, and he started making minced meat parathas in that. He learned the trick. Okay. Okay. So we managed somehow like this only. Okay. But as I always say, with so much of travel that we have done, if one is very, very, very finical about food, traveling can become a little bit challenging. One has to somehow manage because our purpose is not food there. Our purpose is something else, actually, So we should be able to manage. Anna sigate, rice is available, curds is available. Okay, so we can manage. We can manage.
Just one more. Is that an expensive country or is it comfortable?
Sorry.
No,
It is fairly affordable, But you know what has happened because they are used to a lot of international tourism. For example, I was just during the trial run, I was telling Sanjay, I was telling Sanjay that a typical 21 days or 15 days trip, 15 days, let me say 15 days, will cost about $3,500 all inclusive. Okay, airport to airport, $3,500 to $4,000, airport to airport. Usually they give all inclusive. This is what it costs. This is apart from the airfare, of course. Airfare is another 1.5 lakh something. But about $3,500 should be $3,500 is approximate budget which one should keep for a 15 days to about 20 days trip.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I think if we travel with Doctor, I don't think we have to worry about food also. Thank you, Doctor. Anyone else has any questions? I also see Soundarya Valli here, who is the WWF head of state of Karnataka. Valli, would you like to ask something?
Nothing to ask, Sanjay. It's very, very interesting, and truly admire in fact, the humbleness and the way he's explained everything. He has actually inspired many of us to go. I'm not a Rotarian though, but please add me when you go in your group. Thank you, Doctor,
You're always
so
welcome.
much.
I'm sure you will enjoy it. If you're heading WWF, you should enjoy it, actually.
Of course, yes, we love it.
You should be taking us there.
Yeah. We will definitely. Yes. Why not?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. Anyone else has any questions? So shall we close the session? By the way,
thank you, Sanjay. I must thank each one of you for having sat through a fairly long session. As I was telling Sanjay, one thing that Rotary teaches, especially if you become a president of one club like Rotary Club of Bangalore, worst is if you are a PDG, you'll go on talking and you're used to long talks, actually, Okay. Thank you very much. I'm quite happy that all of you enjoyed it. I must thank each one of you for having sat through a long talk. Thank you very much, Sanjay. Thank you, Gitanjali. Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Tricia, would you like to say something?
Oh,
you have a friend from Jamaica. Would you like to say something?
Yes, it was so nice to be able to join your meeting. It's the morning here in Jamaica. And I was pleasantly surprised when I heard Doctor talking about the hummingbird. As I mentioned, it's our national bird. So that was pretty refreshing. I enjoyed all of the pictures and the discussions and so on. And I hope to join your meeting again next week.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Very, very nice of you to have agreed to give a talk, Doctor. Thanks for being a part of our fellowship group. And I request you to, continue to handhold us and, help us in all our, future endeavors with your experience and expertise. And I was really thrilled to hear that, Ecuador is the first country in the world to legally recognize. As soon as you say legal,
I could see your ears pop. Okay.
Yeah. So legally recognize and enforce rights of nature or ecosystem rights. That is truly amazing. That is something that every country in the world should emulate. And thanks for talking about so many types of hummingbirds and showing us. It was literally, we felt that we are actually visiting Ecuador, and your photographs are absolutely stunning. I have no words to say. I mean, if you can go through the chat box, you will see how much of appreciation all members have for your photography. That apart, we really appreciate your sense of humor, great sense of humor. We really enjoyed the talk. And at the start, we had about, I think, 28 members. Consistently, we had 55 members throughout on Zoom. That apart, we also had a few, I mean, about 15 to 20 members on YouTube. I'm sure everybody were glued to the system for these last 1.5 hours. Thank you so much, Doctor. Appreciate. Thank you. Thanks on behalf of all the wildlifers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Gitanjali. Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Sanjay, I'll close.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.